What is it about video games that you find appealing? Is it the opportunity to get lost in the majesty of a game's world? Maybe it's the idea of becoming powerful enough to dominate all of your enemies across every encounter. Or is it as simple as the opportunity to enjoy a social gaming experience with your friends? This is the question that drives the creation of every single video game that has ever been made. And I wanted the answer to what it is that makes gamers tick and how that relates to who we are as individuals. Video games at their core offer a tapestry of experiences that reflect countless perspectives and preferences. From the very first pixelated arcade cabinets to the sprawling modern open worlds that we have today, each title emerges from the ambition of developers who ask themselves, what would people love to do, feel, or achieve in a game? And that core curiosity becomes the guiding philosophy for everything, from the earliest brainstorming sessions all the way to the final release patches. Consider, for instance, how diverse these majestic worlds can be. For those who love a narrative depth, you might lose yourself in a sprawling RPG full of lore and side quests where every corner of the map tells a story, just like the breathtaking vistas of Skyrim or the poignant landscapes of The Witcher. Alternatively, for adrenaline junkies, it might be the white-knuckle thrill of outmaneuvering hordes of enemies in bullet hell shooters or bracing yourself for that final circle in a battle royale. And for many, gaming is a purely social enterprise, be it weekly raids with guildmates or casual co-op couch sessions with a best friend. This diversity shows up as more than just preferences. It points to something deeper, the reason each of us chooses to play. These motivations act like psychological fingerprints. They're what keep us returning to the screen even after a tough day, or what makes us finally attempt a boss again after hours of doing side content to level up. Understanding these motivations can offer insights not just into how games are made, but also into what drives us on a personal level. Our preferences, our style of learning, and even how we approach real-world challenges. In short, the question about why we're drawn to games is a question about human nature. Game developers invest enormous amounts of time and money to test different mechanics, visuals, and stories, all in the hopes of creating something that resonates with as many different players as possible. And as you'll see throughout the rest of our time today, each of these motivational angles, be it the rush of power or the pull of community, speaks to a fundamental aspect of how we interact, create, and learn in virtual spaces. To explore this idea, I went on a search to find a place where people were talking about these things, a place where actual game devs were congregating for one reason or another to discuss the why of gaming. After a number of articles and a few long YouTube videos later, I stumbled across this, a video posted in 2019 by GDC, the Game Developers Conference. This video is a genuinely informative watch, taking a deep dive into the psychological patterns of gamers. However, I became focused on one single slide of this gentleman's presentation, the gamer motivation model. The moment this slide came onto the screen, I felt confident that I had stumbled onto the key to better understanding how millions will play the same games, come at them from completely different angles, and yet the meme still holds true, as each of these games has
a little something for everyone,
as IGN so eloquently put. This model is divided into 6 main categories, each with 2 subcategories. The main categories are action, social, mastery, achievement, immersion, and creativity. But how can you tell what any of those really mean for you as a person? I mean, sure, you may know the genres of games that you enjoy, and you probably can point out some of the more evident systems in gaming that keep you dialed into an experience, but exactly how much balance exists for you between each category is another question entirely that one company has set out to answer. Enter the Gamer Motivation Model Quiz, created by Quantic Foundry. This test asks a variety of questions, starting off with demographic information such as your gender, age, and the kinds of games that you play, and the intensity at which you play those games, casual, core, or hardcore. From there, it provides 3 categories of questions: how important different things are to you in video games, how much you enjoy certain aspects of gaming, and how often you do specific things while playing games. By collecting the answers to these questions, the system is able to accomplish 3 things. 1, it classifies those general motivations into one of 9 gamer types. 2, it will specify what each of your primary and secondary motivators are in video games. And 3, it will show you where your degree of motivation for each category sits in comparison to over 1 million other gamers who have also taken this quiz. So, after taking 5 minutes to do it myself, these were my results. I'm a motherfucking ninja, desiring a duel of speed and skill in the games that I play. And yet the immediate follow-up from my gamer type tells me that my motivation profile combines a desire for both fast-paced and relaxed gameplay. That is some of the most contradictory bullshit. Now, obviously, we're stuck with a bit of a problem. How is it that I want both fast-paced and relaxed gameplay? I scrolled through my gaming libraries to try to see where these differences are clear across the games that I love. God of War is a game with tight combat, challenging enemies, and a vast number of playstyle options, while a game like Detroit Become Human is practically a movie in video game form, with almost no combat, where you tend to walk around discovering small clues that give you more context relevant to the scene that you're in. And yet, both of them are some of the most memorable gaming experiences I've had in my life. The common thread? Exemplary writing and storytelling. Coincidentally, the value I place on story in video games rated higher than 76% of other people who have also taken the Quantic Foundry test. I also rated very high across the excitement, competition, and community motivators, which explains why I love both Lethal Company and Apex Legends. It's exciting to get into a gunfight, it's competitive to climb the ranked ladder, and doing it all with a squad of friends is an absolute blast. It's also exciting to run down hallways desperately trying to escape a thumper, competitive to see if you can beat your own personal record for quota, and a great time to play with a mod that uncaps the max lobby size so that we can all collectively laugh at my sister screaming at the top of her lungs as a demon jack-in-the-box chases her down. The point is that each game we play contains multiple motivational threads, and they often surface differently depending on the context of our mood. That's why it's possible for you to resonate with both Elden Ring's punishing boss fights and Life is Strange's slow burn narrative exploration. You can find yourself equally at home slaying undead with breakneck combos one day, and then immersing yourself in the choice-driven introspective storytelling the next. The tension between fast-paced and relaxed merely highlights the possible range of experiences that I value. There's a near universal truth in art. Whether that art is a film, a piece of music, or a video game, it becomes so much more resonant when we share it. In gaming, this is amplified because the medium itself is interactive. You don't simply watch a story, you direct it, inhabit it, and become a part of it. And so when you love a particular game, you often want to talk about it, stream it, show it to friends, or just replay it together. This desire to share leads to entire communities sprouting up around single titles. People create art, fanfiction, cosplays, guides, wikis, and video essays. They dissect lore, hold tournaments, remix soundtracks, even produce musicals. I mean, seriously, I found out about Undertale the musical while I was working on this video, and the songs for it literally have millions of views. It's evidence that while the motivations described by the gamer motivation model help us to understand what drives each individual player, it's the collective act of sharing, discussing, and celebrating these experiences that ties us together. On a more personal level, analyzing your own profile provides awareness of why you fall in love with certain games and bounce off of others. Maybe it's not that you just don't like Civilization, but that you specifically crave the sense of immediate feedback and adrenaline that turn-based systems rarely provide. Or maybe you just realize you've never played a strategy-heavy game because the methodical planning process doesn't really speak to you, until you find that one strategy game with a mesmerizing storyline and you suddenly see the value in the deep strategy. Understanding why we enjoy certain things could be a key to discovering parallels between how we handle challenges in a game, like carefully planning out a boss fight, and how we approach challenges in real life. Learning about your gamer motivations can function like a small lens into your broader identity. You start noticing patterns in how you learn and how you collaborate, which can translate into personal growth. It may sound dramatic to say that a video game quiz can teach you something about yourself, but I would disagree. When you look at it through the lens of psychology and motivation, it becomes a mirror, albeit a fun, sometimes whimsical one that reflects pieces of who you are. Maybe all of this is fanciful thinking, but I say that the value that you get out of this is as great as you allow it to be. And hey, maybe you don't even play games all that often these days. If you feel like that's true for you these days, then consider taking a look at this video about why that's happening. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.